Greetings. Okay, last week we did a ceremony for the 4th of July and looked at, I guess after that we did a Dark Night of the Soul video. So this one is focusing on what shadow work we can be enacting in ourselves for the collective healing process right now. So for those of you who aren't familiar with shadow work, this is looking at elements or aspects of the whole that maybe we don't like, how they're showing up, or maybe we're in denial that any of those things are or could be a part of us. So because we're not doing this just for us, though you can definitely do this practice, and I suggest doing this practice for your own life, what I want to address in this video is doing collective shadow work. So the more of us working together to heal the wounds of the collective past, the more influential that healing energy will be in the wholeness. So we can influence big change by individually doing this work, okay? So I'd love you to put in the comments anything that you come up with that needs to be addressed that I don't address in this video, so that we can do that in future videos. Today, I spend a part of my day looking through some social media sites, following up on what's going on as best I can, and then I pull back to consider and ponder what stories are trending or coming up. So, and then to do the inner work is to help us to assist this, okay? So there's a couple of themes that I want to bring up in this video. One of them over the last few days is this Wayfair thing, and whether you are on board with that or not, there still seems to be an element of deceptive marketing, hiding things in plain sight. Okay, this is a theme, hiding things in plain sight. So the question is, when we do collective shadow work, we have to look at where might we individually have the same issue or theme or experience somewhere in our life. And it doesn't have to be in a distorted way. It can just be in a small way, okay? In fact, it usually is in a small way that just we haven't acknowledged about ourselves. And by that I mean, okay, so where have I been deceptive in my life to myself or to other people? And it can literally be to the smallest degree. And maybe there's bigger things you've done. Maybe you have been deceptive in a relationship and you can acknowledge that time and decide to still love that you anyway, that you learned something, that it contributed to your soul's growth, okay? But maybe you are deceptive about if you buy organic or not, say, with a friend who's super into it, or your partner even, or maybe you hide your belly under your clothes. I'm really just, this is how this shadow work goes though. You literally find where that quality of humanness, because anything a human can do is a quality in all of the qualities of humanness, and they're both good and bad, okay? We've just praised more on the good spectrum, and we've negated or we've wanted to heal or uproot those on the bad spectrum. But first, in order to change the reality, we have to acknowledge what's at play, which is duality. And alchemy is the process of combining two opposites to cancel each other out and open up a new reality. So that's what we're in the process of doing here, changing from a polarity, duality matrix into a unity field. We've got to find value in the parts so they can cancel out, and we do this by finding them in ourselves. We see what's not liked in reality, we find that same part in ourselves somewhere, even in the smallest, and we love that about ourselves. We combine it with love, acceptance, appreciation, embrace in ourselves, and that changes, the inner changes the outer. It changes the makeup of reality. I know it seems so small, but I challenge you with me to do this exercise. So go through your social media feed or wherever you normally get the download on the stories that are going on, okay? I read a story of a mom who was shot and killed for saying all lives matter to a BLM group, and she had a small child, and there were hateful comments on her Facebook page. And so I had some mixed feelings about that whole situation, and you may too. And without going into what those are, the details on what they are, I urge you to write down the parts of those things you do not like.
Hi, Mom.
Hi.
I made new friends at 4 p.m. My new friends are going to be coming over. So,
Sweet.
new friends, Oliver and Ryan. Okay?
Nice. Okay. Sweet. So, find the things that you don't like about a story that triggers you, where you feel pain, and then find where you have experienced the thing you don't like. Say it's you can even take the big thing, the murder, right? You can say, okay, I don't agree with that. I don't appreciate that. That's, no matter what the circumstance, that I don't feel is right. So maybe you've never murdered anyone, hopefully not, but you can take that element, that concept, and say, where have I applied this aggressive energy towards something I don't want to be there anymore? And it can simply be a sponge to a stain on the floor, and I just murdered that thing. I got it out. I completely took that stain out of my clothes or the carpet, okay? Or you completely eradicated a belief that you had, or you got rid of all the ants that were invading your house. Wherever this element shows up in your life, this is the microcosmic version that you now get to love that about yourself, okay? That you could get that stain out completely, that you could completely eradicate it out. And therefore you find that you still have that element in humanness, even if you don't distort it and act it out in that way, and you have a hard time forgiving and loving that about your fellow human, understandable in those circumstances. So instead you just work on the microcosm, which is yourself. This is all we can ever do, is work on ourselves, find where that similar thing exists in us, and if you're talking about a prejudice against something, like where do you have a prejudice in you against anything? Like I have a prejudice against fluoride toothpaste, like I don't eat it, or toxic cleaning products, I don't use them. So I can find those elements in me, even if they're not showing up the way society is telling me they are. I still need to find that quality in my life. I love that about myself. I love that I'm picky about my cleaning products. I love that I have a prejudice against certain ones because I feel healthier. So I love that about myself. Do you get it? So this is the integration exercise that I challenge us to do about the collective right now. The more of us who can do this and pass it along, I promise you this is something that affects the bigger picture. You are that powerful. You are that powerful that you do affect change, especially when you do it in yourself for the whole, and you know that you are. Okay, if you have any questions, please write in the comments and share this video if you feel that this can be helpful. I know I do, and I appreciate you watching, and blessings to you.